The Unhappy Hour on the new AmericanMedia.com.
Broadcasting to you live from the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, California, Los Angeles. To be specific, hello everybody, and welcome to the Unhappy Hour here on the new AmericanMedia.com. I'm your host, Brian Engelman. Welcome and thank you for joining us again. We talked a lot of free agency and Cleveland Browns action last week with Rob Troutman. And this week, it's all about the basketball, isn't it? March Madness, how's your bracket doing? Did you get the $1 billion? Come on, did you pick Ohio State in the first round? Come on, that's the purpose of the new American media. At least this program on the Unhappy Hour. You know what to expect out of the Indians, the Cavs, the Browns, the Buckeyes. You should have expected that. Silly rabbit. Why not pick Dayton? Anyway, real quick, if you're not following us on Twitter, please do so. We're at American_media_. By the way, we're bringing in NBA scout Zak Baris to join the program, was the point of that lead-in. We're going to talk basketball. So on Twitter, we're at American_media_. On Facebook, do a search of The New American Media on Facebook and like the page. Check out our homepage, thenewamericanmedia.com. And check out our YouTube channel, youtube.com/thenewamericanmedia. It's a new week. We still don't know where that missing Flight 370 is. So you can take a listen to our interview on Agree to Disagree last week when we spoke with John B. Wells, trying to figure out where in the heck that thing is. I mean, we're, 2 weeks in? Still, no answers. I'm not saying people don't know. I'm saying the general public doesn't know. I absolutely think that people know what's going on. Maybe it's a drawn-out hostage situation. Maybe it's a false flag. I'm just not buying the we totally lost it thing at all. So, anyway, check out that conversation. It's really interesting. But today we're going to talk sports, at least on this show. So, without further delay, let's just get Zach into the program, talk about some hoops, shall we?
Oh.
Zach, welcome to the Unhappy Hour. You're live on the air, sir. How you doing?
Exhausted.
Welcome to the club. What did I do to get exhausted? I don't know. I have a hunch what you've been doing. Let me guess, flying all over the country.
Yeah, I mean, since I saw you in San Francisco, I took a plane. I changed my flight, went to Indianapolis, came home for 3 nights, then went to New York. Then I was in, and then came home for a night, went to Toronto the next day, then I was in Buffalo yesterday. And now I got 4 nights until I'm back in San Francisco again. So
Wow.
It's just been a whirlwind.
Do me a favor, just avoid Malaysia until we figure out what's going on over there. No unexpected trips to Malaysia, please.
Well, that's, for all the good basketball players in Malaysia, I think I'm going to have to sit this one out and watch them on TV.
Has there ever been a pro basketball player from Malaysia?
No, I don't know any pro athlete that's Malaysian.
Okay. Well, I digress, obviously. And while we're talking about digression, thanks for joining us on your exhausted schedule. We do appreciate it, as always. And our listeners do, too. They pepper me with questions all the time, trying to pick your brain on various topics.
I'm sorry I couldn't go on last Friday. I was in New York and waiting to go out with this girl I'm dating back from California, and she was in New York. So it was... I just didn't have the time, so I apologize for not being able to come on last week.
One, you never need to apologize to me. Let's see. 2, go out on a date with somebody you care about or talk some sports. I think even most nerds would take the date. So, no, don't...
I talk sports with her.
Hopefully she had like the ponytail and the librarian glasses as well, and it kind of fulfilled that nerdy sports girl fantasy. Anyway, I digress. I don't know who you're talking about. Anyway, while we're in this pseudo territory of non-sports sports talk, the topic came up about the T-shirt jersey things, and I was just curious on your opinion. Does it change and alter shots?
I'm not a player, so I couldn't tell you directly, but I can tell you the players hate them.
I hate looking at them, but why do the players hate them?
Because they're a little bit restrictive on the shoulders. They are. I mean, I hate those skinny dry fits. I can't stand them. The one with the small sleeves. I hate them.
I
prefer longer sleeves if they're going to be on. I don't like them just coming over the armpit. I mean, they're uncomfortable. I mean, I've tried one on before. They're uncomfortable. I don't like tri-fits like that.
Yeah, I saw somebody just commenting on when they wear the shirts, their shooting percentages are off, and I don't know.
See, I haven't analyzed that at all. I just honestly I haven't had the time to do that. And like I said, it's too hard to analyze on a game-by-game basis. You would literally need to look through. They literally need to wear them 50% of the games during the year, and that's how you'd have to analyze it. You can't look through a 5-game sample size because it means nothing because, all players have their ups and downs. Some nights a player shoots 65% from the field. Another night he'll shoot 30% from the field. Everybody has their ups and downs in basketball, so just remember that. So the sample size that we're going off of here, unless they're playing in those jerseys at least 30 to 40, 50% of the time, it's very hard to get an accurate sample size.
Okay, I could see that.
And that's the problem. So I'm just being realistic and truthful with you on this one. I have no clue whatsoever whether it makes a difference.
Well, that's why I want to lead with the absurd, because it was the jersey question that I was getting, and the other one about are we going to have like a NASCAR-style European League sponsors on the jersey thing. I know Stern was talking about it a few years ago, and it popped up again with Silver. So is that going to happen within 5 years, do you think?
I think so. I don't think you're not going to see anything like those, though. You're not going to see giant NASCAR logos, giant M&M logos on teams' jerseys. If they are, what they're going to do is they're going to be in the upper right-hand corner across from the Adidas logo, and they'll have a little brand like the Cavaliers might have a Q in the upper right-hand shoulder for Quicken Loans. Another team like Dallas might have one of Mark Cuban's companies, or they might have the American Airlines symbol. Same with Miami. It just depends. So, but I don't think you're going to see anything too outrageous. You're not going to see McDonald's. It's not going to be a soccer-esque thing. You're not going to see IBM or Mac printed on the front. That's just not going to happen. And if it does, we're looking a long ways away. People, I can tell you right now, people are not going to want to buy jerseys with a bunch of crap written all over them.
My Cleveland Browns jersey has AL for Al Lerner. I'm trying to figure out the best way to rip it off.
So.
Yeah, I know, but I'm stuck with it on mine. My custom jersey.
Well, that's why I bought a Jim Brown jersey, so I don't have to worry about that. So every time we lose a player in free agency, or they get traded, or whatever happens, or they get released, or you take a first-round pick and trade him a year into his career, I don't have to worry about that.
Like we'd ever do that. Like we'd ever do that. Yeah, Trent Richardson, thank you very much. Yeah, I put my own last name.
And Brandon Whedon's gone down, too.
Yeah, well, he lasted 2 years, though.
I'm just saying, though, 2 years in the NFL and both your first-round picks from the draft that's supposed to save your franchise are both gone. Your starting quarterback and running back. Think about that for a second.
Well, so is the regime that drafted him, so I guess all's well that ends well. We'll see what happens with the new batch. And number 4, who would I pick? Sammy Watkins? Do I want a quarterback? I don't know.
I honestly, like I said, I'd be ecstatic with Watkins. I really would. But, I don't know if we're talking football now or if we're talking basketball. I'm down to talk whatever.
I know. We always do on this program. That's why we appreciate having you. By the way, if you're not following Zach on Twitter, please do so. He's at Z Baris. That's ZBARIS. Let's get to basketball. Ohio State ruined how many people's billion-dollar brackets?
I don't think that many. I don't think that many people had if you're an educated basketball fan, you can't be surprised Ohio State lost. You really can't.
To an 11 seed Dayton. No, I'm not surprised, but how many people do you think really putting their money where their mouth is took Dayton over Ohio State, though?
I don't know, but I mean, like I said, Ohio State. I was in New York last week watching Ohio State, Nebraska, and Ohio State looked horrible.
Yeah.
And Nebraska's an 11 seed. Ohio State barely beat them. I mean, Ohio State doesn't have anyone who can score. Now, if they had Deshaun Thomas, it'd be a completely different story. You'd be looking at a team that would probably be a Final Four team with a guy who can score like Deshaun Thomas. But they don't have it. They don't have anyone who can drive to the hoop on a consistent basis, without turning the ball over. LaQuinton Ross. But
wait, was that your choke noise? Was that the choke noise?
Yeah.
Okay, I caught that.
Yeah, he turned over the ball 6 times in the first half. It's unacceptable. And Ohio State just didn't have the offense. It was like almost in 2003 with the Ohio State Buckeyes football team. You went from the 2002 national title team, where the defense was still good the next year, but the offense lost Maurice Claret. And they just weren't the same team. They couldn't move the ball offensively. Yeah, they were still a pretty good team, but they weren't amazing. I think they beat Kansas State in the Fiesta Bowl that year. They were a very good team, but they were nowhere near that national title team that won the championship the year before. That's what happens when you lose your best player. And that's when people saying last year, Ohio State's not going to fall off at all without, Deshaun Thomas. They lost big time without him. Big time.
Well, and now they're
He
going
was
to be
a really good player. He was a great scorer.
Yeah. Well, he was, but now we're going to be losing Aaron Kraft. Does he have any future in the NBA, do you think?
Some people think so. I'm not one of them. His game is so weak offensively.
Yeah.
Defensively, he can come in there, but another problem is, when you foul a point guard at the end of the game, point guards make their free throws. Aaron Kraft does not. He's not a good free throw shooter.
Isn't that something you can work on, though? Isn't that something that can be improved?
It can, but will it? I don't know. He didn't improve 4 years in college basketball. I had a friend, actually, it was funny the other day, mentioned he was an Ohio State alum. I was watching the game with him in New York. And he said to me, he goes, well, what do you think about Aaron Kraft? Because apparently he focuses so much on school. And I said, well, it could be a possibility, but you think you would see a dramatic improvement over 4 years and not just, a very limited one. And by the way, for anybody listening to the show live on the air right now, if we are live, turn into the Memphis-George Washington game. George Washington's down by a point with 10 seconds left. So it's definitely coming down to the wire. That's
upset alert! We need an upset alert button, like a siren or something going off.
Well, that's up to you, Brian.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to make the noise. I occasionally bring out. I have a kazoo from a music convention, and occasionally when I'm feeling ridiculously wacky, I'll play the kazoo, but it's too far away. Otherwise, I might. Okay, so spoiler alert. All right, so Ohio State goes down. You didn't see it as a big surprise, and really they haven't played that great all year. I agree with you. So was there a bigger upset then? Let's stay on the upsets. Do you think that maybe, I don't know. Do you think the Oklahoma loss was a worse upset than Ohio State?
I don't know. I mean, Oklahoma, like I said, it's a 12-5. Yeah, it was a pretty big upset. Yeah, I think that was a bigger upset. Like I said, I don't think Ohio State was a huge upset. Ohio State hasn't been playing well as of late. They played well early in the season. They've been playing about, just about 500 basketball after that. They haven't been great.
Yeah. Well, who else in the first couple rounds here that might have a nice seed? Who do you see going down?
I was surprised Duke went down. I think that's what killed everybody's billion-dollar bracket.
Okay, so you think Duke hurt more people than the Buckeyes?
Yeah, and the funny thing about Duke is I'm watching that game today, and Duke's killing them off the offensive rebounds. At one point, they had 10 offensive rebounds in whatever school they're facing. Mercer had 0. Yeah, Mercer. I'm sorry, Mercer had 0 offensive rebounds, and yet Duke's still losing. It doesn't make any sense.
Duke got taken out by 7. This wasn't a 1 point.
Duke's interior defense was atrocious.
Well, I mean, Ohio State, they foul a 3-point shooter who sinks all okay, and then you lose by 1. And you're like, oh, man, Duke got beat by 7 to Mercer, number 14 seed.
Yeah, it was bad. It was a really bad loss.
Yeah. Yeah, Cincinnati got taken out, too.
It's times like guys like that, when guys like Jabari Parker are supposed to shine during times like that, and he just didn't. Duke couldn't make a shot. Their interior defense is some of the worst I've ever seen.
Well, let me ask you, when you're scouting a player like Jabari Parker, and he doesn't show up in the big game, in the dance, how much of an impact does that make? Because to use the football analogy, they're doing It
depends how you analyze it. I mean, you can say, okay, he's an 18-year-old kid, 19-year-old kid that just didn't have a good game. On the other hand, you can go, okay, well, if you're willing to base his whole career off of it, that's not something I would do. I think, like I said, it's a small sample size.
Yeah, true.
And you can't base a guy's entire career off of one game. If you did it to LeBron early in his career, there's guys you take over LeBron. I'm going to take Robert Horry and a couple other, complimentary pieces because LeBron can't win a championship. And now he's come back and he's won 2. So sometimes it just takes guys. Carmelo Anthony won a collegiate title his first, in his freshman year. And look at him.
Right.
Carmelo doesn't have an NBA championship.
Well, Phil Jackson over there. Let's bounce to that. With Phil Jackson in the Knicks, do you think he's going to bring the pedigree with just stacks and stacks, a handful full of championship rings? Do you think he's going to turn the Knicks around? Is that possible from the position that he's taken over for the Knicks?
I don't know how well Phil judges basketball talent. He's been a coach all these years. I'm sure he's great at it. I'm sure he's a big name, but like I said, do I think they're going to lure LeBron James to town? No. I think New York's a mess. I think with James Dolan owning the team, I think they've got a mess on their hands. He's one of those owners. He's very invasive. He doesn't allow his front office staff. He gets involved within the front office decisions. It just doesn't equate to basketball success. It doesn't.
So you think Phil Jackson took a job where he's not going to have the ability to do the things that he needs to do?
I mean, they're paying him $12 million a year. Something tells me he's going to have the ability to do whatever he wants there.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying.
$12
I have the hunch too.
But like I said, it's still James Dolan, and he's never had any success with that team. I think their best bet would be able to acquire Carmelo Anthony. I mean, to be able to re-sign Carmelo. Do I see them landing LeBron? No. Do I see them with Wade or Bosh? Maybe Bosh, but doubtful. And they just don't have a lot of cap room. They can get Melo back, but they can't make that many significant changes for another year. I think you're really going to see this team. I really don't know what they're going to do. I think Carmelo's much better off going to a team like the Chicago Bulls. Much better off. If Carmelo really wants to win a ring and stay in a big city, you go to Chicago. You want a ring next year. Because Chicago's having a good season without Rose, a very good season without Rose, and without Melo. Add those two back to a team where Noah's butting into a superstar by the day. So you've got yourself a hell of a basketball team. You've got yourself a 1 and 2 scoring option with arguably the best, if not second best center in the NBA. With some really good complementary pieces in Jimmy Butler, Taj Gibson, Tony Snell. I mean, you're looking at a roster that'll be really deep.
Well, I really think...
And also, well, there's another thing, too, though. Thibodeau could become the next coach of the Knicks. That's another possibility, though, too.
Rumblings
that one's
about
still
that.
on the table. I'm not willing to pull that one off the table. There's always a possibility that Tibbs becomes the next coach of the Knicks.
Well, if I were Phil Jackson, honestly, I would hit the reset button. I would shave as much salary as possible. I would do the salary dumps as much as I could.
I'd bring in my own guys, but the thing is, Phil's already old. James Dolan's not paying a guy $12 million a year to sit on his ass and let it happen, to let the process take over.
Yeah, but that's the Zen way to do it, man. That's the Zen way.
That is the way to do it. It is the way to do it. But, you've given up a top 10 pick in this year's draft to Denver.
Yeah, that's going to hurt. It's pretty strong draft this year.
Yeah. So, you've really hurt yourself in a lot of areas, just some bad trades over the years. And it really hurts you.
Right.
So, I really don't know what's going to happen with the Knicks. Do they hit the reset button, or do they go out there and try to build the team through free agency again? So they're going to be able to do that eventually. It's still New York. But with Phil Jackson, I mean, I think the reason why they brought in Phil is to help entice Melo to stay, but by no means is it a guarantee.
Is Phil going to be the one that has final say in all the player personnel?
From what I understand, yes. But
okay.
Until I see it with my own eyes, I'm not going to believe it.
It could be a Jerry Jones scenario where he's on the field and he's calling the shots and he's doing the media stuff and he's getting the headlines and making the decisions. Okay. Well, let me ask you this then. Let's bounce back to college because the March Madness is going on. Do you have your Final Four set? Do you have a hunch of who you're going to see?
All I care about is Arizona making it.
That's all I care about. That's it? No other rooting
That's
interest?
all I care.
So you didn't fill out the $1 billion bracket.
Win it all.
Hey, as a scout, they don't prohibit you from filling out a $1 billion bracket, do they?
Nope, I didn't fill it out, though. I was in Canada.
I call it Canada, too.
Yeah, I was so busy, I did not have time to fill out my $1 billion bracket, but I would have been eliminated now anyways, so
yeah,
I'm not too upset about it.
I'd have picked Ohio State for 2 wins, probably. So I would have been out as well. I wasn't able to make it happen. Well, let's talk about this. Now with the regular season done and the tournament started, Andrew Wiggins, has anybody really jumped or fallen on your radar as far as some of the best talent coming out, and just based on what you've seen over the past few weeks?
I don't know. I mean, I'd have to go back. I mean, this is where the film comes in, where you really have to start watching a lot of film to determine.
Right.
Because there's stuff you start to look for. There's stuff when you're watching a game, there's stuff you just don't analyze. And
what kind of things don't you analyze when you're watching?
When I watch a game, I'm watching a game based on one particular player that I'm watching, and that's what I'm watching. But there's stuff you don't notice. I mean, when you watch a game, sometimes it'll come out and go, this guy, it's like when I watched Anthony Davis a few years ago at the national title game. I would have never known he put up 6 points without looking at his statistics, ever. It was one of the most complete games I've ever watched and one of the most dominant performances without scoring. The guy put up 6 freaking points in a game, and it was one of the most dominant performances I've ever seen. It's things like that where I said, oh, I remember coming on your show and saying this kid was a guaranteed star. I will never forget that. I loved Anthony Davis, my favorite player. I would have traded Kyrie Irving for him.
Really?
Oh, yeah, I still would. I love Davis. I think he's the next best thing in the NBA. He's going to win multiple MVP awards.
Okay, well, this brings me to another question. Kyrie, Derrick Rose, and Carmelo Anthony. Is it time now to rethink the strategy that these are 3 players to build around versus maybe we move these cats and we got to hit the reset? Maybe they're not the cornerstone we need.
Kyrie's 21 years old. Let me start by saying this. Kyrie's 21. He can still be a cornerstone. He's still a very good player. I think what he might need, though, is he might need another veteran, a la LeBron James, to put him in his place, or someone, another really good NBA player. That might be what he needs. He might not, like I said, the Cavaliers in LeBron's 4th year were in a championship. LeBron took that team on his back. Kyrie's not as good of a player, and he's not ready to do that. At least I don't think. LeBron, in his 3rd year, took the Cavaliers to the Eastern Conference semis and almost upset Detroit.
Well, you know what, though? LeBron was durable. Kyrie's out again. He's always out.
Problem.
Yeah.
I mean...
Same with Derrick Rose, though. That's why I said Derrick Rose... I'm sorry, go ahead.
I think Kyrie's a player you can build around. I really do. I truthfully believe he is.
Even with his fragility. Even with it.
Yeah, even with it. And Derrick Rose... His injuries have just been bad luck. They really have been. It's like the same thing with now I'm starting to believe that Russell Westbrook's knee injuries could be chronic. He had 3 surgeries this year, and now you're looking at, the guy limped off the court tonight. They've just cost Oklahoma City their chances at a title this year. So, like I said, the Westbrook, when he's healthy, is one of the best players in the league. Derrick Rose took the Bulls to over 60 wins a couple of years ago in his 3rd year in the NBA. The guy's a star.
A star with bum knees. You see Andrew Bynum sitting out again.
Yeah, but this is the second time he's had it. Like I said, Derrick Rose is not anywhere near the category of Andrew Bynum. I'm not willing to throw him in there. The one player I do question is, though, Carmelo. Carmelo's going to be your guy. If you build around him, you're going to get to 50 wins. I think that's been proven. Year after year, Carmelo gets you to 50 wins, and that's about where he gets you in a first-round playoff exit.
How much of that is him just being a point scorer and not a very good all-around player?
Well, that's the question.
Yeah. Because that's what people have to figure out right now. And I guess that's maybe what every general manager of every team has to figure out, whether it's the NFL. Is this the quarterback we can make a playoff push around? Can we go far with this guy at the helm? In basketball, you only have 5 people on the court at a time. So, it's very important that you have one of those leaders that can get it done. I don't know. Dan Gilbert's going to have some interesting choices to make with Kyrie, and of course the offseason, everybody's going to be wondering about LeBron. Yeah, I don't know. What do you think it does for Durant with Westbrook always being down and now seeing James Harden down there?
I don't know what's going through Kevin Durant's mind. I'd love to say I knew, but I don't. And
so what would you ask him if I got him on the show? What would you ask?
They were having a hell of a year without Westbrook. Reggie Jackson really taking it upon himself to, he talked about big improvement. The guy's had a great year. Oklahoma City could conceivably get to the championship without Westbrook. They're a really good basketball team. Just Westbrook makes it that much better. And that's why I still say, why did you ever trade James Harden in the first place?
Oh, you've been screaming that ever since I've known you.
Yeah, well, they'd have a championship by now. But, when that's what happens, you get a cheapskate owner. Kind of like the Dolans with the Indians not re-signing Masterson and the whole thing last night. So,
yeah. Well, they just called off talks for now, right?
They're done.
He's a goner.
2 years for $34 million is a deal.
They're going to put him on the chopping block? They're going to trade him mid-season at the deadline?
I don't know. If they're having a bad year, but I don't expect them to have a bad year. I expect them to be pretty damn good this year.
Yeah, it's going to be, you're right, it's going to be Indians time so quick. I'm kind of looking forward to it. Cause
like I said, if you're a Cleveland fan right now, now's your time to just not watch the Cavs for the next 2 weeks. Focus on the NCAA tournament. Focus on other stuff, and baseball's right around the corner if you're at least an Indians fan.
Yeah, I mean, the Cavs are sitting there 26-43. They are, what are we looking? 6.5 games out of the 8th spot? Is it done? Cavs?
Are they? I haven't even looked at
Yeah, Charlotte
They've been done all year. I've been saying it since they were 6-10. They're done. They're done.
I think you said it's a train wreck in Cleveland right now, I believe was the exact phrase.
It was. It still is. I thought getting Luol Deng would help them. Obviously, it hasn't. It's made zero impact. So
he played really good against the Lakers when I went and saw him live. But yeah, 3-7 in the last 10, sitting there 6.5 out of that 8th spot in a deep draft. But now we've won enough games where that 377 winning percentage. If it started today, looks like, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Cavs would be the 9th pick. Is there still going to be an impact player available at 9?
Yeah, you're looking at Aaron Gordon.
Okay.
From Arizona. He's, like I said, I think no matter what, if you do this right, you're getting a really good player.
Okay. So then, at this point, you got to sit Kyrie out. You got to lose those games. Because that's been the debate, too, about, should teams be allowed to tank? It's like, well, how else do you get a great player to rebuild? You're going to be consistently subpar unless you do it that way. Is that the only way to rebuild?
If you're in a smaller market or a market that can entice free agents to come, I guess it is.
Yeah.
But look at a team like the Pacers. A team who never tanked, went out there, just drafted really well, whether it was getting Roy Hibbert, Paul George, Lance Stevenson, trading for George Hill. I mean, they, making a key free agent signing in David West. It's like I said, tanking's not always the best thing. Look at teams like Sacramento that tank every year that have been in the gutter since Chris Webber left.
Fair. That's fair.
So tanking doesn't always work. You need your mix of veterans. Look at the Minnesota Timberwolves. High draft picks every year, but if you don't get that proper mix of veterans in there, you're never going to succeed in the NBA.
Yeah, T-Wolves are also sitting about 6 games out, 34-33. Kevin Love trying to figure out what he wants to do. I think he's going to be available next season.
I think what's going to happen this summer is I think the Cavs are going to make a desperate attempt, this is just my opinion, to go and try to trade for Kevin Love. My guess is they give up their first-round pick this year. They include Tristan Thompson in the deal, Deion Waiters, and maybe another piece in the deal too, to get Love, to keep Irving happy, try to win with Love, and then you go and say, listen, LeBron, this is our plan. And, and either Kevin Love's going to re-sign if LeBron comes, and if he doesn't, it could be a disaster, and he could walk at the end of the year. Or what you do is you try to move him during the deadline if you're not having a great season.
Yeah. I don't know. The whole LeBron thing is...
I tend to think that the Cavaliers are going to wind up offering a lot for Kevin Love this summer.
So how does that work if we don't have the bird rights, so we can't offer a max deal, or we sign and trade so that the T-Wolves would sign him, and then it would be a trade? How would that play out with Love's contract?
I'm not sure exactly how it would yet. It depends. It really depends what they would do for him. I really don't know what the Cavaliers plan on doing yet. I mean, I think they're also going to make a move at LaMarcus Aldridge, but I doubt that one. Why would Portland be willing to give him up? They've had a very good season.
Yeah, Aldridge has been on the radar for a while. Let me ask you this, because until we get through some of these beginning games, I'm really gonna start gearing up for the tournament. Maybe when we get to the Sweet 16, then it starts getting really, really interesting for me. But as far as NBA, your Rookie of the Year, is that a solid? Is that already determined, or we still have enough time to change your mind on that? Let's say you had a vote.
Wait, what did you just say?
NBA Rookie of the Year. Is that already decided, or is there enough time to change your mind? Provided, I'm putting it out there, pretend you have a vote in the Rookie of the Year in the NBA.
For the Rookie of the Year, I don't think anyone deserves it.
They don't just not give it away. They give it away every year.
I mean, I don't know. I do like Oladipo a lot from, I like Oladipo. He's probably my favorite rookie, so...
Okay.
Yeah, there are really too many. Michael Carter Williams has stunk lately. There really haven't been any. There really haven't been any, productive rookies other than Carter Williams this season, Oladipo. That's about it.
Anthony Bennett, number 1 pick. Interesting.
Who?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's another Cleveland pick that we go, who? Trent Richard, who? Brandon Wheat, huh?
Yeah.
So
Disaster, one thing after another.
yeah. Well, with the injury now to Oklahoma City with Westbrook, is it the Spurs division to lose now?
Like I said, the Thunder are still there. The Thunder have done the majority of the season without Russell Westbrook. I'm still gonna, like I said, it's the Thunder or the Spurs.
With everybody else kind of on the outside looking in, sitting at the kids' table.
Well, I mean, not in the Western Conference in general. I'm saying that division. In the Western Conference in general, the Clippers are playing out of their minds.
Yeah.
Doc Rivers has them. I mean, they're elite.
How much of a difference has Doc made versus the team getting better and them having better chemistry? Or you can't really separate the two?
I think it's a mix of both. I mean, I think it's a mix of both. Doc brings that veteran leadership to the table, where, I mean, he's a hell of a coach. Look what he did in Boston.
What was the deal? Why did he end up bouncing out of Boston anyway?
He wanted out. He wanted to be in L.A.
Okay,
he wanted out of Boston.
He was done.
They were going to a rebuilding phase. I think he just wanted out.
Okay. So it wasn't really anything like the Celtics thinking they could do better. It was the way that it worked.
The Celtics did not think they could do better. Trust me on that one.
No, that's fair enough. Well,
there aren't too many coaches in the league better than Doc Rivers.
The Cavs were so certain they could do better, they went and got the guy that they fired. So, go figure.
Yeah, well, Dan Gilbert was confident.
All right, well, I'm gearing up toward baseball coming up. We can talk about that in the future. We've gone through the brackets. We've gone through the NBA. Talked a little bit of Browns. I don't know. That might be all I have for today. You got anything else burning on your mind?
No, that's about it. I'm just focused on this North Carolina-Providence game right now. So it's been a great game, great comeback by North Carolina in the last couple minutes.
Okay. Well then,
1.7 seconds left. North Carolina's up by 1 with the ball.
Love it. Love it. Give me another upset before I let you go. You got any other upsets?
That are going to happen? I don't know. Well, VCU's losing. Stephen F. Austin. That one could be tough.
All right, you heard it here.
Stephen F. Austin. I think it would be. Would that be all 4 number 12 seeds win if Stephen F. Austin beats VCU?
That doesn't happen very often, does it?
No, I usually pick 12 over 5 though, depending on it. But I do like VCU. I like Shaka Smart. I do like VCU a lot. And another team I really like, who I don't think is getting a lot of love, is Virginia in the tournament.
Yeah.
They had a hell of a season, and Tony Bennett is. I'm telling you, when I was a freshman at Arizona, Tony Bennett was down there at Washington State. Turned that program in from something you'd never even heard of Washington State basketball before that season. He turned them into a contender. I mean, they were damn good. They were a top 20 ranked team, top 15, even top 10 at one point under him. He did a great job, and since he's come down to Virginia, he's turned that team into a top 5 team. I mean, Virginia is one of those teams that, they could surprise a lot of people in the tournament.
Well, as far as the 12s, you got Harvard in the East. You have North Dakota State in the West. But down there in the Midwest, you did have St. Louis knock off 12 NC State. So
yeah. So one, yeah, and right. Okay, and VCU just tied it up.
Okay.
So,
but yeah, my $1 billion. You know what? I actually had a dream that I won the lottery right before, the day before I had to fill out my bracket. I had a dream that I won the lottery, so I went out and got some tickets and forgot to fill out the bracket. But either way, I would have had Ohio State winning one game. So. I don't know. It's interesting. The odds are very astronomical when you see.
I would have had Ohio State losing to Syracuse in the second round, anyways. So.
And I guess they're still giving out, what is it, 10,000 or 100,000 for the top 10 brackets, even if they're not perfect. It's just interesting. You look at Dan Gilbert and Quicken Loans, with the Cavs connection, kind of teaming up there, and then insured by Berkshire Hathaway with Warren Buffett, and it really is just gambling. That's really all Wall Street and business is. You're just gambling. They took out an insurance policy that an unbreakable, unbeatable mathematical algorithm could not be cracked. In every
I think
upside.
someone had a couple. I mean, it happens once every couple of years. Someone has a perfect bracket, but it seems like Duke screwed up.
They might screw it up, but maybe there's somebody that attends Mercer that had it going on, and that's the person that gets the perfect. I'd like to see. I'd kind of like to see the map of like day by day or game by game the people with the perfect bracket when they all disappear regionally. I haven't seen that anywhere yet, but I'm hoping ESPN will give me something. So, anyway, yeah, my perfect bracket's out this year, not even close. And maybe we'll bring you in next week. We'll kind of do an update with another week of games under our belt. That sound all right with you?
Definitely. Yeah, I don't know about Friday yet. We'll pick a day. I'm going to be in San Francisco next week, so I don't know if you're going to happen to be up there again. But if you are, let me know.
Hey, it's right up the 5. It's not too difficult to get to. I will let you know. And yeah, whether it's Friday or we'll pick a day, we'll definitely get you back in here. We're going to talk a little bit more NBA as we head to the playoffs. Obviously the bracket, and I don't know if you're a big baseball guy or not, but I really
love baseball. I always have, always will.
I need the change of pace at this point. It's been a rough football season. It's been an even rougher basketball season. So, anywho, all right. Well, everybody. Zak Baris has been our guest, NBA scout, lifelong Cleveland sports fan. You can follow him on Twitter at ZBaris. That's ZBaris. Zach, thank you for your time, sir. Yeah, I know you're exhausted from doing all your travels, and I do appreciate you taking a few minutes
Brian,
to catch up.
I appreciate it.
All right, man. You take care and have a good weekend. There he goes, everybody, Zak Baris. What we're going to do is we're going to do a little pivot here, and we're going to come back on the other side on Agree to Disagree. Last week we talked with John B. Wells about what really happened to the missing Malaysian flight. You can check that out on our homepage, thenewamericanmedia.com, or on youtube.com/thenewamericanmedia. On Facebook, make sure you search The New American Media and like our page. We've sent it out there. And on Twitter, we're at American_media_. There's a story. I want to buzz through a couple headlines for Agree to Disagree. And I just want to talk about this guy. I want to talk about this pastor, Fred Phelps. That guy, Westboro Baptist, that holding up signs, God hates fags, and picketing at funerals of soldiers. And, this guy was a real piece of work. And he passed away a few days ago, and it got me to thinking. I was scrolling through my timeline. There's this person, Julie Borowski, token libertarian girl. Discussions on politics, philosophy, economics, and animal advocacy. I've seen her on Stossel program. My buddy Mark Clare with Lions of Liberty, he interviewed her. But she sent something out, and it happened to catch my eye. On her Facebook, she said, here, let me pull it up here. Okay, it says, not really political or anything. This is from yesterday. But I'm interested in hearing your thoughts. Is it ever okay to celebrate someone's death? Is it ever okay to celebrate someone's death? And that actually made me instantly think about Art Modell. It did. He passed away recently. He stole my Cleveland Browns from Cleveland. Is it ever okay to celebrate someone's death? The answer is, just reading some of the comments on here, they're very interesting. So I just want to kind of set the stage with who this Fred Phelps guy was after doing a couple of quick headlines about media shield laws. And, well, there's a few things I want to go through. The fact that we narrowly missed a very destructive solar blast in 2012. Isn't that what some people were warning of? Just a quick update on this missing Flight 370. Just a couple of headlines, and then I want to go through this story. So feel free to swing by on all those outlets I told you about, all the other websites where you can find us, and we'll be right back. My name is Brian Engelman. Special thanks to Zak Baris. I appreciate each and every one of you listening. And let's make a pivot, shall we, and go in another direction on Agree to Disagree.
Your guide to the truth. TheNewAmericanMedia.com.